It's time for a crypto market update, and tonight we're going to be talking about instability, emphasis on stable coins, because seeing some stuff there that I want to call to your attention that is going to determine my forecast for crypto for the next few months at least, and potentially even longer. So this is not financial advice, but this is the crypto simulation, and I am the Gaussian snake. You can follow me by clicking on any of the links below in my description, including the one to my Telegram channel over here. So free, and 300 and something members there. We'd love to have you. Lots of daily alpha. Let's get started. So we have stablecoin dominance on the weekly time frame. And I want to talk to you about my concerns with this chart and kind of like how this is determining my outlook for quarter one. So my base case for quarter one for Bitcoin and crypto has been that it would be bullish. That has not been the case so far. That has been wrong up to mid-February, but we still have a month and a half left in the quarter for that thesis to be either validated or invalidated. And so I look to the recent flocking to stables, and there are some things about this chart that concern me. And then I guess we could kind of like look at what might be bullish for crypto about this chart as well. So just off the bat, if you're just kind of like, again, looking on the weekly time frame, what you might notice is the formation of two bottoms, a double bottom. Now, this bottom on the right is lower than this bottom on the left. So that being the case automatically makes this bottom a little less bullish than if it had been higher up. This is clearly a lower low. Okay, there's no disputing that. My base case for stablecoin dominance has not been that it would show much strength this year. Okay, we did say that there could be times where it would, but that overall, that's not really our expectation. But if this is a double bottom, and there are some concerning signs here that I do want to point out. First of all, we have the 20-week HMA in yellow, the 50-week HMA in blue, about to have a golden cross. The 50-week HMA looks like it's curling around. So this could potentially golden cross with the 100-week HMA. That is concerning. That is a sign of strength. We did have a rejection on the week of February 3rd at the 200-week HMA. So that is a good sign. This rejection is good. And right now we're opening up with a red indecisive. So that is also good. Of course, that could change at any time. If we draw down to the daily, let's see how things are looking. Because, I did in my video last night say that Bitcoin could probably do fairly well this week. And, that remains to be seen if that's the case. But that was my forecast in my Bitcoin video last night. So we're just chopping sideways with stablecoin dominance. I will say this. The fact that the 20-day HMA is rolling over is kind of an encouraging sign that maybe stablecoin dominance is about to roll over too. Even though on the weekly, it's concerning. So we might see some short-term relief in the market, which does coincide with my prediction for Bitcoin being rather bullish this week. That didn't really play out on Tuesday, but Tuesdays always turn around Tuesday. We know how that goes. So let's go back to stablecoin dominance on the weekly and zoom out a bit. Okay. And let's get rid of our moving. Well, I don't want to get rid of the 200 week. That is one I want to keep on there, but let's get rid of the noise. Let's close out the 20, the 50, and the 100. And let's go ahead and throw a Gaussian channel in there. The Gaussian channel is important to look at because it will tell us kind of what's going on statistically, and also why not throw in a Bollinger Band. So this is a bit concerning to see that stablecoin dominance is bouncing up into the upper quadrant here of the Bollinger Band. It's also not a great sign that the Gaussian channel inflected and widened. That is typically not, and I'm saying not a good sign. You don't want stablecoins to be bullish. That's what I mean. But I am noticing the median line appearing to actually go concave down again. So that suggests to me that there's a pretty good, there's a lot of obstacles for stablecoin dominance to overcome here. Let's look at all of them. First of all, you have the 200-week HMA, which was just tested and failed. That failed test, not a good, that failed test is good for us, not great for stablecoins, right? Not good for bears. Then we have the upper, excuse me. Then we have the upper boundary of the Bollinger Band, another obstacle, and the median line of the Gaussian channel, and then the 618 fib. Okay, it would be bad enough to cross the 0.5 fib, but we did that already last year and everything just kind of rolled over. So to be quite honest with you, as bullish as this looks for stable coins, I have my doubts that we could see a real sustained show of strength here. Now, let me talk about what would happen if we did so that you can understand the implications of that. That's really not what I'm thinking is likely just based on just looking at the chart. I actually think stablecoin dominance is likely to roll back over again. But I think it could show some strength and get up into this region. Now, if stablecoin dominance surprises me and blasts through the Gaussian channel, right? Which it usually, you know, something like that doesn't happen so quickly after failing to hit it here. But let's just say it did, and it started to show some strength. That would be rather concerning for the crypto market. Everything would draw down pretty substantially. And that would mean we'd be putting in a higher high relative to this. Seeing that we put in a lower low, I have trouble believing we'd put in a higher high. So I think my base case until proven otherwise is that we get rejected at the 618 at the very worst. We might even get rejected here at the 200 week. We could get rejected at the median line. But there's a lot of obstacles for stablecoin dominance. So I do think that even though we're seeing this shorter term period of weakness in the market, we're about to see that rollover. If stablecoin dominance surprises me and goes to the upside higher than I think it's going to go, then what we're probably looking at is an extended pause in the market. And I talked about this on my channel. It is not my base case. This is not what I think is going to happen. It's just something to consider. We always should consider all possible outcomes, all probable outcomes. I don't think this is really probable, though. I'd say it's somewhat improbable, but, you know, look at it, entertain the idea. Yeah, so I mean, if that happened, then you would see a lot of things just kind of roll over. And it would start to feel really bearish. And then what you would be hoping for is some kind of, you know, break back down again. It'd be kind of a weak bull market. So I don't think that's likely to happen. You know, on the whole, this is the longest stablecoin dominance has ever been drawn down this badly. I think the bleeding is likely to continue. Now, if we get a green Gaussian channel, that's not going to be too good. Okay, I'll just say that straight up. We don't want this to start chopping around either. That because that would give you that extended pause, and the market would pump later, maybe in late Q2 or Q3. So the reason why I'm spending so much time on this chart is because whatever happens here is going to influence my outlook for probably the rest of the year, for most of 2025. So again, my base case is a rollover. Let's see if any of the under the hood metrics support that idea. Let's take a look at the wave trend. Okay, and let's also take a look. Oh, I guess I have the reverse Chandy momentum oscillator also up. So wave trend is green. It is green. Back in April of 2024, it actually printed a green dot. We are at a higher low here. So we could see some strength, but you know what I'm actually thinking is likely to happen is a lower high and a roll back over. And maybe later in the year, we'll see a stronger movement by stablecoin dominance. So I think if the cycle really takes off in this quarter, like I think it's going to do, then I would anticipate we'd have a giant pause or potentially the end of the bull market sometimes towards the end of the year. Okay, so this is suggesting that stablecoin dominance has fallen enough to where we should see some kind of bounce, but that bounce could be rather unimpressive. Okay. On the reverse Chandy momentum oscillator, it is worth noting on the weekly that we do have a green signal line. So we should pay attention to that, but that can change quickly. On the 2 week, we have a red signal line, and we are just barely coming into the green on the wave trend. And look at this series of just lower highs, lower lows. We did actually just print a higher low on the 2 weeks, so that is worth noting. However, if you zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out. That looks bearish. That looks really bearish on the 2 week. Look at that Gaussian. So sometimes all you got to do is just zoom out, and now you can see kind of like why my base case is that we are going to get bullish sooner rather than later. There is a chance that we come up here to test maybe a little bit more of the red Gaussian, but we just tested it. So it's very unlikely. In fact, what this red Gaussian on the 2 week is suggesting, quite honestly, is that there is a lot more bullishness left in this market. Sometimes you just have to know where to look. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. I did a whole video on Bitcoin last night, so I'm not really eager to spend much time on this today. And of course, I pull it up on the wrong index. I'm so disorganized. honestly, I need to get more organized with my tab. I haven't updated this list in like over a year. I just always type stuff in. I'm very disorganized. Look at that beautiful green Gaussian channel. I mean, you can't even get a nicer Gaussian channel than this. Concave down, inflection, concave up. It's beautiful. It's tight. Look how far we are above the weighted, the median line, the weighted Bollinger Band. You know, do we come back down to test this line? I mean, it could happen. Like we could have a few weeks of weakness. Maybe we get a stronger week this week, like I've been thinking we would do. This is a 2-week candle, so I don't really know. But this still looks really strong. Let's go ahead and put on the 2-week wave trend. Oh, I already have it on. See, it's being inefficient as usual. Now, this is something I talked about recently. There is a head and shoulders pattern emerging on the 2-week RCMO indicator, and there's also a bearish divergence dot on the 2-week. So that's not great. That is not great. That is not a good thing to see. But we know that in mania, major mania, so it's like this is going to go one way or the other. It's going to roll over some more, and potentially we print a head and shoulders on both these metrics. Or what could potentially happen, and I don't know if this is likely or not. I think it is based on what I'm seeing here, but we could have potentially we could fly out of the zone. This happened in Q2 of 2021. It happened in late 2017. It happened in 2 times in 2013, and it happened in 2011. So when you fly out of the zone, and this happens every bull market, right? I don't know when that's going to happen, but it should happen. And that will signify that we've hit a major cycle top for Bitcoin. Okay. We're nowhere near that right now. But if Bitcoin flies off to the 1.618 to 1.786 fib, you bet we're going to do something that's actually never been done on the 2-week, which we'd probably come pretty high up here. We'd invalidate the head and shoulders. So this is not a shoulder yet. Let's be clear about that. It's not a shoulder yet. And this is an inverse head and shoulders down here. So we should not conclude that this is going to roll over, nor should we conclude that this is going to roll over. Okay. I wouldn't conclude that. What we might want to look at is the tricks bubble to kind of see on this 2-week, like what is going on with some of the shorter term moving averages. These are EMAs. They are rolling over. Okay. This is bearish. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. This is bearish. We've got the, I have to think about what these would be. The 10-week EMA is crossing over all these other higher time frame moving averages. That's not good. The last time this happened, we had a multiple month drawdown. Now, if this comes down and then comes back up, right, maybe towards the end of this quarter, that would be very bullish. So again, like I said in my video about Bitcoin last night, I'm not anticipating a show of sustained strength right now with Bitcoin. I think it has a shot at getting into the hundreds, the low hundreds, but then I think it's going to get whacked back down. If that even happens, this is suggesting downside is more likely than upside in the short term. Okay, and then we really need to see where the chips fall. I really don't want to see a lower low. That would be disappointing, but does the market care what I want to see? It never does. Nope. Okay, so again, I feel the same way about Bitcoin today that I felt yesterday. I don't think much has changed. Let's look at ETH Bitcoin. Okay, ETH Bitcoin is still trying to close its 2-week candle. You know, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say this is the bottom. I think this is the bottom, okay, at 0.023 Bitcoin. I want to point out to you, and this looks like what stablecoin dominance is about to go through, doesn't it? Let's hope, right? But I want to point out that ETH Bitcoin, let's put up all of its moving averages, okay? From now, keep in mind these are multiples, right? Of 2, so this is a real mess, isn't it? Where is the yellow moving average? It's down here. Okay, so the yellow moving average, which you can see here, is the 40-week. The blue is the 100-week. The white is the 200-week, and the red is the 400-week. Now, ETH Bitcoin just barely got a 400-week recently. Okay, I think the 400-week HMA is probably where ETH Bitcoin may actually top out this cycle. We'll have to see. But who's going to even talk about tops right now? So after this really long distribution phase, and spillover, I think ETH Bitcoin has very likely bottomed. But I think it's going to take some time for it to show some strength. I mean, the last time it bottomed in 2019, it came back up to its weighted logarithmic Bollinger Band median line, only to roll back over. So the weighted logarithmic Bollinger Band median line, I apologize for how messy this is at 0.036 Bitcoin. So I think in a mean reversion bounce, which I think is so likely right now, it is so likely to happen sometime this quarter even, okay? I don't think we're going to switch straight to a bull trend right away, but I think we are at the point of being able to experience a change in trend. All right, let's see how this 2-week candle closes. ETH Bitcoin has been very stable on lower time frames, so I'm not too worried about it doing anything crazy. But I think Ethereum is a sleeping giant, and I'm very bullish. The Gaussian channel is up here, folks, between 0.05 Bitcoin and 0.067 Bitcoin. This thing's going to come down more, regardless of what this does. But you can almost imagine that we're going to get to this red Gaussian. Like at some point, we're going to get to it and overtake it. And that's going to be exciting. But it's going to take a while. One of the things I talked about on my channel is look at how long this distribution phase took. We entered into it in April of 2021 and really didn't start to break down in a big way until June of 2023. That was a 1.5 year long distribution phase. Are we going to see something like that at the bottom? I don't think so. But you could see some choppiness at the bottom, that allows this Gaussian to just kind of keep coming down with this lagging data and give us sort of a goal. Like we have not been anywhere near the Gaussian channel since June of 2024. And look at how far we've fallen. So I can show you if we look at, and of course now I put it away. Okay, this is my inefficient TA. Hopefully you guys don't mind. You're getting good value for free. But what we actually had a bullish divergence on the RCMO in November 2023. And look at that. Look at that. We got a higher low in December. So that's all you need to know. Higher low on the RCMO in December. As long as this doesn't roll back over, we're good. And I don't think it will. I think we have already started to experience the move to a consolidation zone and then a change of trend back to the upside. We made it all the way up to 58.73 in April of 2021. That was our topping. So I expect a lower high for this cycle sometime in probably late 2025 or mid 2026 potentially. Yes, I think this cycle could extend into 2026. I think it's a possibility. We're not going to really go there right now because I'm not ready to talk about that. But let's watch this. This could be a really good sign. Let's look at this wave trend. The wave trend is very important metric. We have been printing bullish divergence dot after bullish divergence dot after bullish divergence dot. We're going to print another one pretty soon. This is a very solid bottoming process. I've been saying we've been bottoming since here. I thought that the 382 fib would serve and bled to the 236, but look at all this structure. This is some great structure for ETH Bitcoin. So I'm bullish. I still believe that ETH Bitcoin is going to be, or I'm sorry, that Ethereum is going to be what's remembered about 2025. Like when 2025 is over, I think we'll say 2025 was an Ethereum year. That's my base case. Bitcoin dominance on the 2-week, just a big mess. Red dot after red dot after red dot after red dot. Bitcoin dominance has been in a bull market for far too long. And that bull market is starting to fall apart. You can even see it in the 2-week Gaussian channel. It's very tight, right? But you can see that the median line is starting to inflect. I don't think this has much life left in it, to be honest with you. Yes, we did dip to the median line of the Bollinger Band, and then we're breaking out. Okay, fair enough. We put in a higher high for dominance. Clearly, the bull market is not over. We thought it was, but it isn't. That just goes with ETH Bitcoin needing to build out a base. Altcoins being absolute trash right now. So we'll talk more on that in a little bit. But Bitcoin dominance is still looking very bullish. I just don't think this is going to keep up for that much longer. There's the 20-week, 40-week in yellow. We've got the blue right here. This is your 100-week. It's above everything. Screw this thing, man. I wish it would just like go away already. Here's 100 week. No, sorry, 200 week is starting to inflect. Well, it inflected a long time ago. It's starting to form some kind of top. And then the 400 week for Bitcoin dominance sits at about 49%. And I think we'll actually probably get underneath that at some point this cycle. So the Gaussian channel, we've had a green Gaussian now since November of 2023. That is nearly a year and a quarter. Okay, it's a long time. You can see that once the Gaussian channel inflects, that's where dominance starts to have trouble. It seems like we're getting close to that point where we would anticipate some kind of inflection. I think it could happen this quarter. I don't think Bitcoin dominance will get above its 786 fib. Of course, I said I didn't think it would get above 63%, and it did. But I did mention in one video that this region did have some horizontal support on it. So I'm not going to claim victory on it because honestly, I drew a green zone. It's right here. But I don't know. I don't think Bitcoin dominance has a lot left to give. If we look at the tricks bubble for dominance, it looks bullish, which is exactly what you would expect when you pick. But look at this downtrend. This is what I really want to point out. This is a downtrend, right? And over time. So I think most likely some kind of lower high and then roll over, we get below the zero line. Bitcoin dominance now is starting its bear. This is a bear market already for the 10. I have to think in terms of math, right? This is a 10-week EMA in green. Everything's trending down. So that's all you need to know. Dominance is almost done. So we'll just say 2024 was a Bitcoin year. The first quarter of 2025 was a Bitcoin quarter. But then after this, I think Ethereum is going to steal the show. I really do. So what about the elephant in the room, altcoins? Nobody wants to talk about. Others' dominance. Well, the less you say about it, the better. Okay, well, we do have a double bottom potentially forming here. And this double bottom, unlike the one for stablecoin dominance, is pretty solid. We're talking about a slightly, gosh, that is just a slightly lower low. It's so slight that I would just say we retested the lows. Will we hold these lows? I don't know. But look at the Gaussian channel. It did sort of inflect. It's very wide. Hard to say what's happening here. I'd like to see us reclaim the 236 fib. So just looking at this graph, I don't know. We're spilling out right now. This could go on longer, and we could actually take out this low. So the next few 2-week closes, so let's just say closes throughout this quarter, are going to be absolutely crucial to determining the health of the altcoin market. What this is suggesting is that money is flowing out of altcoins, and we don't need to be a genius to know that. If you hold any altcoins, you've certainly experienced this bleed. A bleed is a very mild way of putting it. I would say hemorrhage is probably more accurate. It's been brutal, absolutely brutal in the altcoin market. Let's go ahead and take a look at what should we look at? Probably wave trend would be good to look at. And got so many of these things open. Okay, yeah, this is bearish. We're below the zero line. Not good. Bearish on the wave trend. There's a decent chance we don't hold this low. If you're holding small cap altcoins, I'm sorry. The future does not look good for you. I hold small cap altcoins. The future does not look good for me, at least in the immediate term. There's just a lot of work that needs to be done. Okay, could this form a higher low? I think it could. Wave trend is at about negative 29%. I think we'll see some relief at some point in here. But, we might have to come down to the green zone. We were there in July of 2023, haven't been there since. We never even made it into the red zone. Last time we were in the red zone was January of 2022. And the time before that was September of 2020. That's when your altcoins were really flying. But look at how much time passes between those events. Like July of 2017 to September 2020, 3 years. But there seems to be two distinct periods, like August of 2016 and then July of 2017 for others' dominance. This is on the 2-week. Okay. What we're seeing now looks more like 2018 in terms of the kind of top we're getting than it does anything. We haven't seen anything bull market like compared to past bull markets. We haven't seen a true altcoin season. Okay. We have printed the double bottom bullish divergence in July of 2023, but it looks like we're coming back down. And there is a chance that we come even further down. Could happen in March, could happen in April, but we should be watching this. Altcoins do not look strong right now. They just don't. This all looks bearish. It's below all its key moving averages. You know, if we could miraculously print a double bottom here, that would be wonderful, but I just don't think that's likely to happen. I think what's more likely is a complete breakdown for others. But then I look at the stochastic oscillator and I'm like, okay, complete breakdown may be a little dramatic, right? Stochastic oscillator is down in the dumpy zone. Glad it's not up here. So this is actually a good sign. That's why I said like maybe February, maybe March. I don't know that we'll have to chop around like we did in 2024, you know, maybe chop a little bit. But here's the thing. What I tell you about Ethereum? Ethereum looks like it's ready to wake up. Let's put the story together, okay? Stablecoin dominance has been bullish, but it is having resistance at the 200-week HMA. It also looks more likely to roll over because there's just so many obstacles in the way. It just got rejected off of its 2-week Gaussian red channel. It's probably going to get, it probably won't even make it up there on the second attempt. And if it does, it'll probably get rejected at the lower boundary. That's just kind of what happens. It's rare that we can actually blast through it with it facing down like that. Bitcoin is showing some very short-term signs of strength, but unfortunately, in the medium term, it looks like more choppiness with a slightly bearish bias is likely. ETH Bitcoin looks like it's in its bottoming process, trying to establish the lows and prove that 0.023 Bitcoin is the low. I think it will be. And Bitcoin dominance is looking like it's going to have its last hurrah this quarter. You know, granted, I was wrong on it, and it's more alive than I thought it would be. But then we come to others' dominance, and it does look bearish. But then I look at the stochastic oscillator, and I think to myself, well, what if this crisscrosses a few more times? Maybe we have a couple months of pain. This doesn't look like it's going to last for super long. You know, in a bear market, it can, like over here. But in bull markets, the periods of weakness are actually relatively brief. So I think we're just having one of those now. It could last another few weeks, maybe month or two. But actually, I think after that actually, you know, that actually cements a pretty strong bottoming process. And let's go look at the KZX RSI. This higher time frame stuff is just so helpful. Okay, KZX RSI, you know, has been printing higher highs and higher lows. So it'll be kind of interesting to see if we can preserve that structure or not. We don't have any clear bullish divergence signals, which we've never actually had on the 2-week. So let's go to the weekly and see if we can pull some of those up. And the weekly, yeah, we don't really have any identified, you know, bullish divergence at the moment on the KZX. So while we technically had a bullish divergence in RSI, it looks like we're coming back down again, probably to this bottom line. Hopefully we can establish some kind of higher low somewhere and, you know, stay out of the red zone. So the last time we hit the red zone was August of 2024. The time before that was June of 2023. I don't want to see another one of these capitulations. That would be really bad for others' dominance to do that. What we want to see is, you know, we had our first bullish divergence in November of 2022. Second one was confirmed. So I should say, you know, this was a confirmed bullish divergence, May of 23 and June of 2023 with April 2022 as the node. Technically, a failed bullish divergence here, but that was coming out of a bull market. Sorry, this was a bear market. So yeah, we have to see what happens here. Can we get maybe another line that extends out here? I think when you go green, you have to start all over again. So probably this would probably be the source. We did dip slightly below in July. So I think we can probably stay away from dipping like this, but we'll see. I'm not sure. That's on the weekly. Wow, this just looks terrible on the weekly, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know. Not terribly optimistic on especially small cap altcoins right now. Let's take a look at how total 3 is holding up against Bitcoin. No, not Solana. Bitcoin. Okay, so we are currently at 0.39. That is the ratio of altcoin market minus stable coins denominated in Bitcoin or divided by Bitcoin. I want to point something out to you. You thought Ethereum Bitcoin looked bad. Look at the altcoin market strength against Bitcoin. What strength? This is why you haven't seen a truly massive altcoin season, because your altcoins have been in a bear market against Bitcoin for ages. Ever since what? January of 2022. This has just been an absolute bleeder. Altcoins are down 66% against Bitcoin. 66%. Let that sink in for a minute. Look at this red Gaussian channel. Now, the only good news is it did inflect and widen. That's good, right? And the Bollinger Bands recently had a breakout to the upside. That corresponded with just blasting through the Gaussian channel in December, which typically is a really good sign. What happened here isn't very common. When you blast through a weekly Gaussian, well, this is weekly. I want to go to the 2 week next, but when you blast through a weekly Gaussian, that's a sign of strength. Now we are technically holding a higher low within the Gaussian channel. I'd like to see us stay within the Gaussian channel as this kind of curves around. And you can almost imagine this Gaussian channel going green in Q3. I don't know, but I think the altcoin market may surprise us this cycle, and we could see this cycle extend into 2026. We could see a lot of strength from altcoins near the end of this year, second half of the year, and into 2026. Okay, when this Gaussian starts to turn green. I don't think altcoins are going to move as quickly as they did in the past to the upside. A lot of garbage is getting flushed out of the space right now. Solana pump fund garbage, base garbage, even some Ethereum garbage, Sui garbage, virtuals ecosystem stuff. Like, there's just a lot of stuff being flushed out. A lot of meme coins and coins that just don't matter. Let's look on the 2 week and see how things look for our altcoins. Well, not great. Really, truthfully, not great. Wow. That's humbling. So the previous lows for altcoins against Bitcoin, we really hope this is an oscillator, not a bleeder. That is yet to be proven. The previous low was set at 0.18 valuation in December of 2020. We're a long ways away from that. And I think there's a really low chance that we would take out that low. But we are currently sitting in a big area of horizontal support. And we had a pretty strong wick out at 0.34. So I put 0.35 as kind of a line in the sand. And I did this a long time ago, I think. Yeah, I did. And ever since then, we've gotten back above the 0.39. This is a ranging that's happening after a really nasty fall. The Gaussian channel is very clearly red and down. I think it's going to inflect soon. It may have already started inflecting. This upside move is probably going to cause us to inflect. Now, at the inflection, last time we got a really horrible drop. Are we in the process of experiencing that now? Well, one of the things that I'm noticing is the 200 week. The 200 week whole moving average is at 0.33. Notice where we wicked. We were below the 100, but we're actually kind of sitting at it right now. And then the 40, we're below that. So things are not as bad as they seem when you zoom out. It doesn't look good, but at least we're ranging. And that ranging is good. And the Gaussian channel has been red since July of 2023. I already mentioned that earlier. I think even on the weekly, it's pretty much the same thing. Last time the Gaussian channel went red, that was in November of 2019. I think it was October, November of 2019, and the inflection occurred in October of 2020. So about a year later, and then we actually went green in July of 2021. So we went red in July of 2023, and it's been a little. I mean, it's been actually a lot longer. So it's going to take time. I think that the altcoin market is going to put in a lower high for this cycle, and I think it could happen around somewhere between the 618 and 786 fib. But you can almost see this might take a while to play out. We could go into 2026 very easily with how much this has slowed down. So I wouldn't rule that out. Folks, the altcoin season index is still holding the summer breakouts and the fall breakouts. No, sorry. We'll just call it the summer and fall range highs. It's still holding them. So things are not as dire as they might seem. It feels that way. It depends what projects you're in. I mean, if you're in microcaps, you're horrified right now. But I don't think we're in a bear market. It's kind of a mini altcoin bear market, especially against Bitcoin and against the US dollar. But I don't think this is going to last for as long as people think it's going to last, based on my analysis. Here's what I have to say. Okay, we've studied all major aspects of the market. We found no evidence to be bearish right now, like in a longer term sense. Can we be short term bearish? Yes, I think that does make sense. Like, to be bearish for maybe most of quarter one, or, yeah, okay. But are we not going to have an altcoin season at all? Are we not going to have epic altcoin seasons? I don't think that's going to happen, folks. I think we're going to get epic altcoin seasons. I just think it may happen later in the cycle than what we think, especially for the microcaps. But I don't think this cycle's done. In fact, there's even a chance that this cycle has a long ways to go before being done, that we could actually go into 2026 and still be in a bull market based on how slowly Bitcoin is growing. The fact that Ethereum hasn't done anything yet, and Ethereum will have, with the ETF, is also going to probably have slow growth relative to last cycle. That's just diminishing returns. The altcoin market's probably going to grow more slowly than it did in the past. So I think you're likely to experience an overall longer bull market. And I'm getting more confident about talking about this now. This idea that just really entered into my mind fairly recently. This cycle's been confusing, and it will only look clear the further we get into it. By the time it's over, it'll all make sense. But those are my observations. I'm thinking like some trouble for Bitcoin, but just kind of like, more of a slow bleed down. Nothing too dramatic there. And ETH Bitcoin, I think, is holding its lows. I think altcoins are in the process of finding a bottom, okay, against Bitcoin. And I think that will happen probably within the next 2 months or so. If I had to guess, at most 1 to 2 months, I think they'll find a bottom before they can start recovering. And I think we're likely in for a slower, longer bull market that will break the 4-year cycle and take us into 2026. I'm seeing an increasing amount of evidence to support this thesis, especially with how slow things are going in the market. If they continue to go slowly, then that thesis will get strengthened as the year goes along. But patience is your best friend in this market, and being able to adapt to different conditions is also a huge asset. None of this is financial advice. You should always do your own research. This is simply just my perspective based on my own subjective analysis of subjective data. So yes, there's no objectivity in the market. This is as objective as you can get, but it's still not objective. That's why you need to look at multiple perspectives and decide for yourself ultimately what you believe. Thank you for joining me for the crypto simulation. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like this video, share it around to your friends, share it in Telegram, Twitter, and everywhere else, and subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. Also, I'd love to have you in Telegram. It's free. Always point the wrong way. It's free. We have a lot of people there, lots of analysts, great content, great place to be. So I'll see you there. All right, I'll be back again with another video in the near future. Bye.